This is such a brilliant movie. Oh my god. Generic control into that goes. We're back with another kill count reaction. Today we're doing It Follows from 2014, a movie I have never heard of, but people are excited for me to see the kill count of. We just finished up with the fourth Jaws movie, which was the last 2 weeks of videos was the Jaws franchise, which didn't really need to be a franchise. It was good at just one. Well, let's go ahead and jump on into It Follows. Oh, well, there's no warning, so that's good.
Welcome to the Kill
never
Count,
heard of this
where we
movie.
tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies.
Detroit. My cousin was in Detroit today, actually.
It Follows,
I dropped off at the airport to go to Detroit.
That came out in 2014. It Follows is one of my favorite horror films of the past
Also,
decade,
what is
and
it?
it's only partly because it was shot and takes place in Detroit and the surrounding suburbs, which is the area where both Chelsea and I grew up. In fact, the main character's house is literally in Chelsea's neighborhood. It's crazy.
What?
Hi, Chelsea. But even if this movie
Also,
wasn't
James does
really
not give
I'd
Detroit
still love
vibes
it because of how
at all.
satisfyingly cerebral it is. The unique premise can be interpreted a bunch of different ways, and the young cast is impressively natural in their acting. Plus, although you won't be able to tell from the kill count, the electronic score by musician Disasterpiece is fucking dope.
Oh, that is...
I've been listening to it nonstop.
That is stressing
it sounds like
me
It
out.
was made by a corrupted LCD sound system. For that and many other reasons, I highly recommend you actually watch this movie if you haven't seen it before. It's a perfectly beautiful nightmare. In It Follows, a girl named
Unlike
Jay,
Scary Movie,
played by Micah Monroe, contracts a sexually transmitted shape-shifting stalker. It assiduously follows her and will kill her if it ever catches her.
Oh, it's
and
like the
only
snail.
way she can pass it on is by sleeping with someone else. That new person would then be followed instead, but if the monster ever killed them, it would return to its pursuit of the previous person on the list. It's an interesting conceit that can be read as a warning about STDs or a celebration of sex as an escape from death's relentlessness. And although there are rules to the creature's behavior, the movie is more interested in themes and atmosphere than trying to solve the monster's origin story or over-explaining it. What's following them? It is
But
bad.
also, is
That's
it
all
like
we need to know.
explained
How many
to the
kills
people
will
that get it?
Get after all that following?
Like, does someone tell
Let's
them the
find out and get
rules?
to them.
Like, it just appears, you know?
On a
Like,
suburban street in Metro Detroit. An awesomely fluid long one take shows a girl named Annie in a panic, looking terrified at something behind her, but thankfully still able to run in heels like she's the operations manager of a dinosaur car.
Take the heels off,
Eventually, she drives off to sit on a beach by herself at night. And come morning, why, she's the first one on the kill count, having been completely mangled by an unknown force that will come to kinda know. Start getting comfortable with not knowing things, though. With the tone-setting opening kill out of the way, we're ready to meet our heroine Jay, who enjoys swimming in her above-ground pool and getting ready for dates by tulip lights. Tulights? Her date is with this dude named Hugh at the historic Redford Theater in Detroit, which is where The Evil Dead had its premiere in 1981. They play a game where they talk about strangers.
Wouldn't this just be, like, ideal to just, like, get with the hottest person you know, because then they're just gonna move on to somebody else and try and get as much distance between, like, hope that they get as much distance, you know?
While continuing their game, Hugh points out a girl in a yellow dress that Jay simply fails to see.
Maybe just people with no standards.
And it's here.
Right there.
Her inability to I Spy with her little eye freaks Hugh the fuck out, and he leaves the theater in a hurry. Aw, y'all are gonna miss
because he has
Brandon Hepburn. The next night, they try a do-over date that involves some coastal knee caressing and a steamy backseat makeout sesh in Hugh's car, parked outside the abandoned Northville Psychiatric Hospital off of 7 Mile. They end up having sex, and afterward, Hugh skips out on the pillow talk in favor of a chloroform rag that renders Jay unconscious. Better after than before the act, I guess? She wakes up tied to a chair inside the big abandoned building in shots that could be found in an Urban Explorer's portfolio. Hugh drops a truth bomb on Jay and tells her that apparently there's now a nebulous thing that's going to follow her always.
Somebody gave it to me, and I passed it to you.
Okay, terrible way to start this
Back in
sentence.
the car.
He says that the
Terrible,
thing could appear as someone she knows or as a complete stranger, like this naked lady they see coming towards them now. The only way to escape it is by sleeping with someone else, who will then be followed by the monster instead, at least until it kills them. Then it's
But then it goes back. So why would he do this?
It'll come after me.
The entity's relentlessness to get closer to its potential victim is truly a
But
thing
also
of
he
terror
can
that
see it.
drives this entire film and fills every scene with paranoia. We get a few other rules from Q, like that it travels in a straight straight line and that it's slow but not dumb. But those might not
How are
even
you
be
able to
fully accurate,
sleep, though?
Since writer-director David Robert Mitchell has said that they're just what Hugh has been able to figure out for himself. Shit, that dude ain't omniscient. Hugh drops Jay off at her
Why is he
house
so
in a
smart?
humiliating way that evokes the film's themes of sex and sexual assault. Jay might not have been raped in the traditional sense, but man, did Hugh violate her. A short trip to the hospital and an earnest investigation by the police both end up yielding no useful information. Jay doesn't have VD or anything, and Hugh has disappeared, having used a fake name this whole time. Jay starts college and takes Halloween 101, where there's always a distraction waiting for you outside the window. But it's not Mikey Myers Jay sees out there. It's an old woman in a hospital gown walking straight towards her with an intense single-mindedness. Jay leaves class and is followed through the halls by the same
You just like
blank-faced
straight
figure
up
who nobody
can't
else
have
seems to
a
see.
normal life.
Hello?
Oh no.
Hello?
She runs away from school and goes to an ice cream parlor to get help from her sister Kelly and Kelly's friend Paul, who's got a major crush on Jay because, I mean, yeah, obviously. Jay tells them what happened to her and how she's now being followed by an it. So that night, Paul
But then
stays
you have
over
to
on the
like
couch to help
pass
stand
it
guard and
along to
protect
somebody
her.
else,
Also joining this slumber
which
party
is just
Kelly's
not a
friend
good
Yara,
conscience.
This girl who has a
The thing
clamshell
to do.
Kindle that she's always reading Dostoevsky from.
I think that if one is faced with inevitable destruction, if a house is falling upon you, for instance, one must feel a great longing to sit down, close one's eyes, and wait.
Huh, sounds like someone we know. Yara's clamshell e-reader is the most noticeable example of how this movie is intentionally anachronistic. Although there are no smartphones to be seen, she's rocking this retro-style futuristic device all the time. And although Hugh drove a brand new looking car from the 70s, Annie drove to her death on the beach in a very modern vehicle. All the mismatched technology in the movie suggests a different time period, or no time period at all. And even the season isn't set in stone. When we first meet Jay, she's in her swimming pool, but the next day she's walking down the street in a warm winter coat. Everything is intentionally illogical, adding to the surreal, dreamlike tone of this nightmare that's perfectly augmented.
I guess,
by the
yeah, it's kind of like a
cinematography and
nightmare where
soundtrack.
nothing
I
like
fucking
adds
love
up.
This movie is what I'm trying to say. I mean, how could I not? It's even got a fart joke.
Hey, I have an idea.
What?
He got away.
Farts are always funny. When Jay can't sleep, she comes down to the living room, surely sparking many a fantasy for poor old Paul there. But before any games of footsie can get underway, the sound of broken glass sends Paul upstairs to get the others. And while he's gone, Jay goes into the kitchen to see
And
what came through the
sees
window.
it's right there.
Oh shit, it's a topless lady! And she's not house trained, oh no! Jay screams and runs away from the thing and retreats to her room upstairs.
Yeah, like how do
She
you
only allows Kelly and Paul
sleep?
inside after
Also,
they plead to let them help her.
Is something wrong with me?
But they
can it
still
just
don't
like
believe her
enter
just yet.
doors?
So when Yara
Like,
knocks
can
and
it
asks to
open
be let
stuff,
in,
but
they
nobody
open
sees
the
it?
door for her. CJ, nothing's wrong. Oh, never mind. There's a lurch-looking motherfucker in the house.
Why is he so
Shout out to
tall?
the guy who played that awesome scare, Mike Lanier, the 7'7" former
Oh.
basketball player and one half of the world's tallest twins. He sadly passed away last year at the age of 48. Rest in peace, man. Jay nopes the fuck out of there and rides off on a bicycle all the way to a nearby park. Weird time to try to skin the cat, Jay, but whatever calms you down, I guess. Her friends come and find her,
Well,
and they all
I-
hug it
I
out, but
just
Jay is
don't-
understandably super paranoid.
But also, it
right
just
now.
passed through.
Do you see that?
I do. It's a person.
That person is Greg, who lives across the street
Okay.
from Jay and Kelly, and is the kind of guy who likes to wash his own car in his own driveway. No automatic drive-thrus for this red-blooded
Understandable.
American. He wants to help Jay out, so he takes that clean car of his and drives the whole lot of them into Detroit, where we get nice drive-by shots of that beautiful fucking city.
He's doing them a
and all
favor
the
by driving them
tragic
into
economic
Detroit?
misfortunes. I never lived in Detroit, but I was in its backyard, and I bore witness to downtown's resurgence. So don't talk shit about shit you don't know. Long live the D, baby. They go to the abandoned house that the con artist formerly known as Hugh was
Valid.
renting under his fake name.
Never been to
probably
Detroit.
for like $200 a
There's a
month.
Detroit, North
Inside,
Carolina.
They find a bunch of homemade alarm systems, some made with Fago Rock and Rycam.
Also,
Hell
there's a
yes, that
new
would tell him if
Philadelphia,
anything was coming
Ohio.
inside
I
to
learned that
get it.
today.
They also find some well-used porno mags. Maybe he was trying to get the monster to follow his right hand or something. They also find a picture of Hugh with a girl wearing a letter jacket of a nearby high school. So they head to that school and an effort to find the bastard and get more information out of it. Another fantastic fluid panning shot shows a figure walking towards the school as Jay and Greg consult some records in the office. And what's awesome here is that the movie doesn't feel the need to make a big deal out of it every time. Even when they get back in the car and tell the others that they learned Hugh's real name and address, we see that figure walking towards them. But a rack focus from the camera is the only bit of attention it gets. The characters never comment on it. As unsettling as the thing is, it's now just a part of Jay's life. And the pervasive paranoia means they don't need to rely on jump scares or anything. I love that. Hugh,
It's
whose real
just
name is
always
Jeff,
there.
actually lives in a large suburban home that's quite a step up from the one he was renting in Detroit. And he lives there with his mother, who you may recognize as the nude woman approaching Jay when she saw the monster for the first time. In his parents' backyard, Hugh tells the others that he can still see the thing, even though he's not number one on its list.
But he's on the
by
list.
By the way, why doesn't Jay just get herself out of that top spot by sleeping with someone and passing it on?
Look, she could do the same thing I did. I mean, it should be easy for her. She's a girl. Any guy would be with you, just sleep with someone else and tell him to do the same thing. Maybe it'll never come back.
Oh, Paul looks like he wants to be a hero. Since the thing is
Oh my
always
God,
walking
it's
towards
not
Jay,
worth it,
slowly
bro.
but surely, they head to Greg's far-off lakeside cabin, which I can only presume is up north, to buy themselves some time and figure out what to do next. This is where I started to wonder what would happen if Jay took a plane or a boat to another continent. Like, would this thing just walk across the bottom of the ocean to get to her? But since they're a
Would
bunch
it
of
just appear?
teenagers,
I mean, it
that's
can
probably
walk
not a
through
realistic
people, right?
financial option for him, so I guess it's a moot point. Greg's cabin's amenities not only include a fully functional
It's like the
kitchen,
eternal
but
snail.
also an old revolver in a box. So Greg
Ooh.
has Jay try some target practice
Ooh.
just in case that becomes a viable way to defeat this thing. While hanging out on the beach later,
I'm doubtful.
we get what's maybe my favorite spooky use
I don't think
of
these
the
have
Evil
any silver
Beings
in 'em,
mechanics.
but
First we see
147
Jay,
grade
Greg,
9
Paul,
mil.
and Kelly all hanging out and kicking back cans on the sand. Then we see Yara
40 grain,
walking towards
5'7".
them all in the background behind
In a straight
Jay.
line.
But then we see Yara float into view out on the water. Oh shit, one of these Yara's a monster. And I'm guessing it's not the one on the pink inner tube. The awesomeness continues when we see what things look like from other people's perspectives. Since they can't see the being, they only see Jay's hair float upward
Oh,
as it grabs
good
her and
lord,
pulls
but they
her out
can't
of the chair.
interact.
It's a great little sequence that expertly jumps back and forth between the different points of view. And unfortunately for Jay, it turns out that all that target practice was for naught. Since
Oh,
even
good
a
lord.
well-landed
Know
shot
what's
to the
beyond-
thing's neck isn't enough to stop it from getting right back up.
Know what's beyond your
continuing to
target.
follow
Oh my
it.
God.
Although they lock it out of the garage, it busts a hole in the door and
Oh,
tries to
it
get
can
at
just
them
do
with
that.
a jump scare. That little bastard sends Jay scrambling the hell out of there and getting into Greg's car to escape. She drives off as the being continues to approach her, now appearing as a young girl. But Jay's frantic getaway is cut short by a nasty case of distracted driving that sends her off the road.
Okay,
and
that was a
onto
little
the
bit
fast
dramatic.
lane for the hospital. There, she wakes up to find her loved one sleeping and her arm in a cast. Hey, at least your legs still
Must have
work.
had a
You're
good
gonna need those to
response
run,
time
you
from
know? To
the-
help Jay out, Greg agrees to sleep with her right there in the hospital.
Oh,
Wow, really
so now
falling on your sword
because she
there,
can't
huh?
run
Or
anymore.
I guess she would be the one falling out. Never mind. 3 days later, Greg tells Jay that he still hasn't seen the entity. Although that might be because he slept with one of these ladies we see him laughing it up with here. We never find out if he did or not for sure, but that's okay. Ambiguity is just fine, people. In any case, Jay
But you don't
still
know if
doesn't
it's gonna
feel
come back
safe,
or not,
so
yeah.
She spends all her time locked up in her room and watching Greg's house across the street for signs of any its trying
But
to
he-
follow
yeah, he
him.
can see
Well,
it.
now, who's that there, Jay? I don't think it's a Jehovah's Witness knocking at Greg's door, because those people are friendly and can tell you all about Jesus Christ without breaking your windows. Jay runs
But
over
also,
to Greg's house,
didn't it
climbs
just,
through the
like,
broken window, hoping
kick
to
through
help
a
him.
door?
When she gets upstairs, she
He's
finds
dead.
the being disguised as Greg's mom incessantly knocking at his door, pausing only long enough to stare daggers at Jay real quick. When it
You're
resumes
next.
knocking, Greg answers his door in standard teenage boy fashion.
What the fuck, Mom?
This the fuck, son. Jay walks in to find the entity doing the nasty to Greg and
Huh?
killing him with some fucked up pseudo-incest. Oh boy, there is a lot to read into here, and I can't even begin to do it in a kill count, man. With Greg dead, Jay is back
What
on
is that
the
gonna
thing's
look like in
list
the
in
pie
premier
chart or the
position, so
little
she drives far enough
diagram?
away to stay safely overnight at the Car Hood Inn. The next day, she wakes up and walks down to the beach where she sees a trio of dude bros out on the water. Well, if it's a dude bro party, then Jay is there. And ain't no
Can
lake
you
gonna
can't
stop
get
her
a
from getting in on it.
cast
At least that's
wet?
what we're left to assume, since the next time we see her, she's sadly and wetly driving back home. Did she reluctantly sleep with those dudes? to buy herself
Probably.
some time? Again, it's ambiguous. In fact, she never tells Paul that she's passed it on, if she did, so he goes ahead and offers up his own services.
I want to help.
Volunteers
That day, Paul
tribute.
will give you his noblest boner. She shoots him down quietly, and in his rejection, he gets an idea from a picture of Jess at a city pool. They load into a car
What
to
is
head
the-
there with their plan, and they'd better step on it, because Jay sees the monster again, and it's naked Santa
Well, I guess
Claus.
she's not
Okay,
explaining
up on
it
the
to
rooftop,
people.
Dick, dick, dick.
So they're
As the
just
kids walk
falling
past
victim to
gorgeous
it.
old Detroit homes, Yara talks about
This
the
is
very
such a
stark
brilliant
borders
movie. Oh
between
my
the city and
God.
its suburbs.
When I was a little girl, my parents wouldn't allow me to go south of 8 Mile.
This is like
And
such
I didn't
a
even know what that meant until I got a little older. And I started realizing
like a valid thing to fear.
that's where the city started and the suburbs ended.
Yeah, dude, 8 Mile's not just an Eminem song/movie. It's a road with extreme divisions of race and socioeconomic status on either side, with Detroit south of it and the suburban counties of Macomb and Oakland north. And I think that little Michigan factoid deserves an awesome bit of score. What do you say?
Okay, that's less stressful. It sounds like something that should be in Stranger Things.
They get
I've
to
only
the
seen
pool
season
and
1.
prepare for the monster by setting up
Can
a
it
bunch
swim?
of electronics around the perimeter, all plugged into extension cables. I guess they're looking to zap this monster and write it off with a death note. Jess gets into the middle of the pool while the rest of them sit around and wait by twiddling their thumbs and reading from their clamshell Kindles. Eventually, the monster arrives, but even when Jay sees him, the audience is left in the dark for a little bit.
Oh my god. I just walked in the room, it's right there.
Probably because of whatever shape Jay sees it taking.
What do you see? I don't want to tell you.
Is it Gary Busey? I bet it's Gary Busey.
What
The possibly
shape is
Gary
it?
Busey-looking monster starts throwing the electronics into the pool at Jay.
He's gonna get electrocuted.
They didn't think about
what do you
this?
Think was gonna happen?
Yeah, what are they-
This climactic sequence in the pool is the one thing that keeps It Follows from being perfect, in my opinion. Maybe I'd excuse the idiocy of this electronics plan if the monster was Gary Busey, but it's not. It's just a beardo in his underwear. Paul shoots at the monster as it keeps chucking shit at Jay, but he only winds up hitting Yara in the leg.
Brother.
Incident. It's not until Kelly gives the
No,
monster
what's-
a kick-ass sheet ghost costume that Paul is finally able to shoot it in the head and knock it into the pool. It grabs onto Jay's ankle before she manages to get out, and Paul takes some very risky shots to try
Into
to
the
save
pool.
her. Wow, dude, maybe ask Yara how you're aiming.
Bro,
before
know
you
what's
try
beyond
it.
your
He
target.
eventually lands a lucky headshot that gets the monster to let her go. And although Jay has a red hand mark around her ankle,
Wow.
it looks like the creature is in far worse condition. It's blood filling the pool in a gnarly way
That's a lot
that
of
only
blood.
Jay can see. With the monster apparently vanquished, Jay and Paul have some rainy celebratory blanket sex. Although afterward, they both admit that neither of them feel any different. Paul then cruises the streets for sex workers to use as insurance to keep his name off the top of the list. Although, as you've probably guessed by now, we don't know for sure if he ever follows through with that idea.
Brother.
Some thematic loose ends are tied up when we see from a family picture that the monster's last shape was Jay and Kelly's late father, lending that pool scene some retrospective emotional weight. And to really put a
Whoa.
point on it all, Yara reads one last relevant quote from Dostoevsky's The Idiot.
And the most terrible agony, knowing for certain your soul will leave your body and you will no longer be a person. And that this is certain. The worst thing is that it is certain.
The movie ends with Jay and Paul walking down the street holding hands. They're not quite happy because
I have
how
that
could they
same
never
shirt,
knowing
I
if they're
think.
fully safe or not. And judging by that person walking towards them way in the background, they might already be back on the chopping block. How many people did this invisible, versatile sex monster murder? Let's find out and get to the numbers.
It's not what I expected at all. Oh, Chelsea, no.
Only 2 people died in It Follows, tying it for the movie with the least kills on the kill count.
That's
With
what,
one
three-way
male and
tie
one
now?
female victim, we got ourselves a very even pie chart. And with a runtime of 100 minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 50 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Annie. It's the punctuation to a real kick-ass opening sequence. And she kept her high heel on the whole time. That's a classy death right there.
And
Almost
she's
ready for
looking at
lamest
the bottom
kill
of it.
will go to Greg by default. Although I can safely say I've never seen a kill like that one before. before. And that's It Follows, which came out in 2014, and like I said, I really friggin' enjoyed. Until next time,
Was it like well received?
This has been the Kill
I mean,
Count.
it has on
Thanks a lot
Blu-ray.
for watching this extra Kill Count. I want to thank some patrons
This was something.
like Caleb Rhodes, Ezri
What's
Cassidy,
next
Alexis
week?
Parmentier, Brian M. Cole,
What is
Cynthia
next week?
Zhang, and
We're getting
Noah
to Final
Owens.
Destination
A little peek
soon, I
behind
think.
the curtain for production stuff. I filmed Jaws 3 and 4 at the same time before I got this haircut. So on Friday, you'll see me with my old hair, and then next Sunday, we'll be back to this. You don't really care.
Okay.
It's fine. Thanks, everyone. Be good people.
I got a haircut last week as well. Oh, The Babysitter with Margot Robbie, I believe. And then we have Hush, and then we're jumping into the Final Destinations, which I guess there's only 5 of them. And then Reanimator, never heard of it. 1985, that probably explains it. Social media, I haven't even heard. I've heard of Final Destination, never seen it. I just know that a lot of people are afraid of like trees going through car windshields, and I think their eyes getting stabbed or something. I think that's big things from Final Destination. But this was It Follows. Absolutely brilliant. I love like the whole premise behind it. It's really good. Obviously I've never seen a movie like it because I haven't seen like any movies ever. I've never heard of it before this. It's unique. I like that. That's good. Shout out to the patrons. They get all the videos daily. I could not do this if it was not for them. I read our comments, leave them down below. And I hope you're subscribed so you don't miss future videos. And have a wonderful rest of your day. But until next video, take care and keep the music.
We were playing